Code 1 is a term used by law enforcement for either clearing a call as incident report made or as referring to the report itself. Welcome to the Code 1 podcast, where we start with the facts usually found in the initial reports and scene of the crime, work our way out, and back in. I'm your host, Jason Zod, a professional investigator with over 19 years' experience. Join me as I talk with others who add their own valuable perspectives to a podcast where assumption is always second to deduction. Welcome back to the Code 1 podcast. And I would like to first say that we're going to have a fun episode tonight. We're getting into one of our favorite times of year. And so we're going to switch gears for a month. We're going to maybe be a little less serious tonight and then a little more focused on some fun stuff later on. But first off, let me welcome back my fantastic, lovely co-host, Nat, fresh off the plane from her assignment out west. Nat, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. I'm very, very, very happy to have you back. And I'm glad you're safe and you had a good trip and you've got all kinds of news stories and good stuff like that.
Yep, I made it home alive. Vegas let me come home.
Coincidentally, the Tupac murder
was solved
while she was
while Nat was out west in Vegas.
I'm not saying I had anything to do with it being solved, but I'm not saying I didn't either.
Yeah,
you can't prove either way, so.
Well, I admire your discretion. So
yeah, I'm a professional.
And of course, you can hear to my right, host of the Trash Podcast, award-winning investigative journalist John Hunter. How are you, buddy?
You forgot about Nat.
Nat is now the lead detective on this show,
and also an award-winning,
yes, award-winning broadcaster herself. But she's now the lead detective on this show since she has solved Tupac's murder.
And then do that one again. Do it again.
Okay, I think we heard it the first time.
Okay, well,
we can't
trying to make it spooky.
It is October, and October
tale from the Code Ones.
It's a fun time of year, and we thought tonight we'd lighten it up a little bit. We typically, as you know, hopefully, carry a little bit of a heavier load.
Oh,
and everybody just let that one hang there for a second. And we wanted to talk about one of our favorite things, which is movies. Now, why are we talking about movies?
Not just movies.
Not just movies. Yeah, but
Marley and Me.
Marley and Me. Isn't that a sad movie?
That was the story of Son of Sam.
It's sad if you're a crybaby.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't see the movie, so I can.
You don't know what that dog told Berkowitz to do.
Well, I'm just kidding. I think it is sad. I only saw it once.
Marley.
Our thing on Code 1 is that we go from the reports and the facts of incidents, and we go out and then work our way back in. Well, those reports and those facts, they all generate stories, and stories go on to become legend, and then sometimes these legends, in their own right, go on to become feature films, inspiration, whatever. And they become the things you watch, you quote, you like, you have your posters on the wall, your favorite actors, your moments. And this is when we can mess around with that and have fun with it. So we compiled a list we can add or subtract to that as we go, just for fun. If you guys have a few stories, I got one or two I can throw in there if we have time.
But these are horror movies.
Yes, they are horror movies, mostly.
Based on...
Not horror movies, yes. Horror
Movies.
Horror.
Not the horror ones that you guys watch.
They're actually very scary, pretty scary.
Yeah, one or two are simply just suspense.
Well, but it's still scary though. Yeah. They're based on real life
scared
events.
Right now.
I'm pretty scared. Actually.
I'm pretty scared. Yeah.
These are based on loosely, some loose, some closer, based on real life events.
Right.
Happenings.
Right.
Some you'll be surprised about, some not so much. Some are pretty on the nose there, if you will.
Yeah. So
before we start, can I ask you guys something?
yeah, go
Can
ahead.
I ask you something? I mean, it's a scary question too. You like horror movies? Are you fans?
Yeah, I
Fan?
mean, I've watched tons of them over the years.
Nah, you a
Not
fan?
not as much lately. I don't. The modern stuff is generally as good.
Bullshit. I like some good ones, dude. You just got to get into them.
Okay.
What do
What
you
was the question?
do you like horror movies?
Do you like
Um,
scary movies, Nat?
Sorry, something almost just fell on me.
Ah,
I think I'm being haunted right now.
is
You do have an internet ghost.
it's 2-pack. Hail Mary.
Oh my god.
We
What all
Lindsay,
this?
things are falling over.
It's saying queer
Already.
tea, queer tea, queer tea.
You can't
Looking
call
at
her
her.
that.
No, it's her
You
keyboard.
can't call her that.
There she is.
What the fuck did you just call me?
Yeah, dude.
So
cool.
I have a love-hate relationship.
Is somebody just
With-
looking through the doorway at you behind you?
Ah, come on. There's no.
It was
Okay.
just
It's Hunter Thompson.
Maybe yeah, it was just Hunter
Hunter S.
Thompson.
Thompson, yeah. No, I told you I was haunted as a ghost.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good God Almighty.
Anyway, I have a love-hate
Back from the
relationship
dead.
with
How many candles
horror
you have?
movies.
You got a love-hate relationship?
Yeah.
Which
Because-
is
Well, my stepdad growing up used to make me watch them, even though I was too young. So I
gotcha.
was deeply afraid for
Gotcha.
a long time. And then I started to just get over that and watch them for fun. And I mean, I still get spooked, but I like them a lot more now than I
Yeah.
did.
Right.
What's do you have a favorite movie? Favorite horror movie?
My favorite horror movies to hate watch are any of the Rob Zombie ones.
Oh, okay.
You don't like any of the Rob Zombie ones? Not even House of a Thousand Corpses?
I mean,
Hey, you don't
it's been
have to.
a while
You
since
don't
I've
have to. I'm
seen
just
that
curious.
one. I was trying to piece them together because it's been a long time since I've watched them. But every time I've watched them, I just find them funnier than I do
I understand.
serious. But I would probably say my favorite is actually Hannibal because that was another one that I saw way too early, but I
Mhm.
liked.
Right.
And the reason I saw that one early was because my dad just let me watch it with him. And so I really thought that cannibals were going to be a bigger problem in my life.
Like extremely genius cannibals
Yeah.
who were like
Well-
beyond mastermind level genius.
Yeah. And I remember watching it at a time in my life where movies were real to me.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I was
So
like,
you're
no, this is a real
7 or
story.
8. You're-
Yeah. I was too young to be watching it, but I liked it. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you were at the age where, on Saturdays, you wearing a costume wasn't out of the question just because.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's pretty
Probably
fucked up.
wearing footy pajamas and eating popcorn and having
Yeah.
some soda pop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, I may even put up a list of movies, recent ones that I've seen that I would recommend. But
Yeah. Why not?
who was your favorite one?
Well, I was going to ask Nat one more question. Which movies bothered you the most? Do you want to even say the names or?
Oh, I used to be really terrified of The Ring. I still
That's
haven't watched
understandable,
it since I was a kid.
Right. That's not a kid's movie in any way,
No.
shape, or form.
And that was the one that
There's a
my
kid in
stepdad
it.
made me watch and wouldn't let me keep my eyes closed. And I was terrified.
There are 2
So
children.
then I was afraid to even put the TV on if I was by myself.
Do you think they were just trying to make you do your homework?
No.
No, clearly not.
No, he was a fucker.
Yeah.
But
I'm glad we married him.
huh?
Nothing.
You would have married him?
No, I said married
I
him.
said I'm glad we buried him.
Oh, I'm like, you want to marry him? Like,
You wanna
probably
marry
can
him?
get you his number.
I'm not that lonely.
Nice. Nice.
I can't think of any more.
I
like-
saw one recently that bothered me badly.
Talk about it.
It's called
Yeah.
Speak No Evil. I don't want to give it away, but it's about
Oh, actually,
not
I
even
do
sure
know
what
which one.
country it's in. It's these two tourists and their daughter are traveling, and then they meet this couple that has a son, and they invite them to come to their house, and it goes downhill from there. I don't really.
You cautioned me from watching it, saying you will not enjoy that movie. So I listened to you.
Look. It was a very effective movie. It bugged me. What's your favorite horror movie? You don't have one, huh?
I mean, I like a lot of horror movies. I'll always love the Evil Dead stuff through Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
Army of Darkness all the way.
Army of
that
Darkness
one's just fun.
It's just a great movie. It's empowering. It's fun. It's everything you want.
Never seen it.
The entire Ash versus Evil Dead series that was on Netflix. Yeah.
Did you like that?
Extremely rewatchable.
I loved it. I thought it was so corny, but I loved it.
And the great thing is,
that's what it is, but
it was the perfect ending to the entire series, the entire Ashley J. Williams story. The music was kick-ass. It was so good.
Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi together.
Dynamite.
Yeah, I mean,
indestructible.
And when
I love it. Love them.
You read how that, like in his first book about how they made those movies, and just out of
Chance Could Kill, that first Bruce Campbell book. Have you ever read that, Nat?
Mm-mm.
It's so fucking good.
They talk about how they built this like all these contraptions and things to film those first movies.
They were broke and everybody ripped them off after.
Yeah,
everybody.
Like they created the
ram cam.
Yeah, so cool.
The wheelchair cams, all that stuff.
Like the Evil, when they're filming the Evil, and it's like that shot. Yeah, everybody ripped that off afterwards.
But all that shit was just the best. And I like straight horror movies. Don't get me wrong. Like I was really big into really shitty 80s and 90s horror. I just saw a ton of it.
You're a big fan of like the
Full Moon production stuff. I really liked, and
what's that? Not the Hammer stuff.
Sci-fi. Full Moon was one of the big studios.
What's the House of Drip Blood and
that was Hammer.
Hammer,
yeah, that stuff. The mid 70s, early 70s to I guess late 90s horror was just great. And it's almost like around the time the first Saw movie came out. For me, I stopped.
I loved those.
I stopped liking horror around that. I was like, it just didn't do it for me as much. And there have been some gems here and there, but
there's some really good ones.
That's just like for the most part, the genre didn't. I used to love going to theaters and watching horror as much for the people as anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
but
my friends and I used to rent horror movies and watch them like every weekend.
Yeah,
and we would all just be fucking terrified. Is it 13 Ghosts?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Tony Shalhoub, Shannon Elizabeth, F. Murray Abraham.
I think that was when we all because our one friend was like, "I'm not afraid of anything," and she was like, she was terrified after that movie. I don't even remember what it was about.
Great ghosts in that movie, and Matthew Lillard was you're like, I know he's not going to make it, but I want to see how long he makes it. And he was actually pretty good in there.
Yeah.
So I could talk about this all night long. It's so much fun, especially when you're dumb preteen boys. That might be some of the most fun you have with horror, because you go between like acting like you're not scared to like jumping around into each other like you're slam dancing. It's just it's the dumbest you'll ever. Well, it should be the dumbest you'll ever be, but it's so much fun. Great.
Yeah, but I've got definitely liked them a lot more now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever say Candyman 3 times in the mirror?
Oh, absolutely. And Bloody Mary, are you kidding?
Oh yeah, I love Bloody Mary. Yeah. So why don't we start off our list? What do you think about that? How about we start with maybe not my favorite horror movie of all time. I did like the remake far better than the original, even though I did love James Brolin. This would be the Amityville Horror. And this was based off of Ronald DeFeo Jr., who murdered his family in a Cape Cod style house in New England. Basically his lawyer was concocting an insanity plea. He sat down one night with this guy after this dude named George Lutz had bought the house and was talking about just complaints about certain things. And these people, Ed and Lorraine Warren, show up kind of out of the blue, meet the lawyer, and they're all talking about how to concoct this haunting story that'll also help DeFeo with his defense, and the lawyer get the book rights. And basically just come up with this haunting that never happened, but it was a complete but the Genesis was a defense piece, and also how to make a book or money off of a complete farce.
But the murders definitely happened.
The murders definitely happened. Yeah, he killed his brother, sister, mother, and father. I believe, if I remember correctly.
Jesus.
Yeah, he was an evil person, and he
shot.
I don't believe that insanity would work for them.
His father, mother, 2 brothers, 2 sisters.
2 brothers, 2 sisters. Okay.
Yeah, and he was sentenced to 25 years to life.
Yeah.
He died in prison just a few years ago, 2021.
Sure did.
Wow.
But man, what a beard and a head of hair on that guy.
Yeah. Looked like he could have been a beach boy.
Easily. That could have been Brian Wilson.
But you see, he was convicted of second-degree
squandered that
murder, which was
they was it a conviction or was it a plea? I was thinking it was a plea.
I think it was because he had some mental disorders. He had a defense or insanity defense, but they also included like his high levels of drug use and stuff in there.
Right. That's what got him the second degree. It wasn't the insanity, because he would have been in a state hospital.
They convicted him 6 degrees of second degree.
Okay.
So
yeah, I mean that's.
And he's that was long on. So he was in New York at the Sullivan Correctional Facility.
Yeah,
he died.
But one of my favorite YouTube channels, the Y-Files, did a great set on just set their names.
The Warrens. Yeah.
And the Amityville Horror, and he really goes in. AJ really goes into depth on that. Depth on that.
What's that now?
What was that? I really don't have that one.
I'm getting possessed, but yeah, he really goes into depth on the Warrens.
The demon just possessed you and said, "Yeah, actually, I was
we got
there."
a devil at one time. Devil, you want a devil? Devil 2 times, 2 times, 2 times devil, and that you want a devil? You want a devil? And that's the devil. Okay.
Well,
so you told me
we all know that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a fascinating case from fact to fiction, and it's a well-crafted story, but that's all it is a well-crafted story.
How scary is the movie, though?
The one with Ryan Reynolds. The one with Ryan Reynolds is way better.
I don't think it's scary. Either one of them are scary.
The first one's got Margot Kidder and James Brolin, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. The second one's Ryan Reynolds. I forgot the actress's name.
Yeah, I forgot who the
I can see her. I just completely
was she in?
Forgetting her name.
Melissa George.
That's it.
Yeah, Melissa George.
But
I googled it.
Yeah. It's a good movie. I liked it. I think they touched into better storytelling in that one, because there was nothing like it before in the first one, so they had that initial shock value that doesn't quite hold up as well over time.
Mm-hmm.
And James Brolin, as hot as he is, he don't have the abs. So,
well, some people aren't into that. All right.
I know. I'm very superficial. The second one, John, would you like to talk about Nightmare on Elm Street?
Oh yeah, it's this movie series that I don't remember how many they've done now. Nightmare on Elm Street is perhaps the most famous series of horror movies. I mean, you could debate between Halloween and Friday the 13th, but Freddy Krueger,
it's in the Great Triumvirate.
Weirdly enough, is based on, I guess, has its roots in true events. Not about a killer though. Not about you would think base it on a child killer, but it actually is Wes Craven, he saw these reading these articles in the 70s about these Hmong refugees that were fleeing to the United States from genocide in Laos, Cambodia, and
Southeast Asia.
the
The Hmong people were
you're right, Vietnam,
viciously persecuted during the 60s and 70s.
right. So when they got here, they would, I guess, in these facilities they were staying in, they'd have these nightmares, and they would refuse to sleep. And so, they don't know. Sometimes they would go days without sleep, but eventually when they would sleep, a lot of them ended up dying in their sleep, right? So they hadn't medical authorities didn't really have any good reason behind it. They couldn't figure out why. And so they called this phenomenon Asian death syndrome. And I don't know what Brugada syndrome is, but had something to do with like a genetic disorder they believed within these guys. Anyway, that was like his big inspiration. And then
I'm not being funny, but but like amphetamines originated from Southeast Asia. They would chew the mahuang plant like as a stimulant. I wonder if like any of that use was like a contributory cause to that. It just wasn't diagnosed.
I don't know.
I mean, it's just something I've always wondered about that.
Well, the other part of that became, do you know the song Dreamweaver?
Yeah, Gary Wright.
Mm-hmm.
So that song, he heard that song and he put it together with the synth part of that story and thought, like, if you've ever watched
I Will Have Her. Oh, yes, she will be mine.
That's Wayne's World, but
Wayne's World? What are you, Chris Walken?
That's Wayne's World.
Who's in Wayne's World too?
Yeah, that's true.
Are we dreaming?
Yeah.
I think we're gonna die tonight.
Yeah. He put that together, and like if you watch the movies, they had those weird synth moments where they're kind of surreal, and then Freddy shows up. Now, Freddy himself was actually came from just an old man that he saw as a young man himself.
Was he a janitor?
Nope, just some elderly man he saw walking outside his window at his house. Well, and he stopped and looked in.
The old man had large claws on his hands.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool though.
Yeah. I guess so. Not as cool as like, creating a devil man burn up in the.
You mean the old toasty child molester who keeps going after kids and child molester and killer.
Freddy was always funny.
He was a
look, I know that he shouldn't like the child molesting, take that out.
That's bad. And the killing, the murder's bad.
That's all bad, but he was funny.
Yeah. He was something else.
He was funny.
And a little racist.
Oh, very racist.
What's up, bro?
Hey, dudes. He was like 80s.
Oh, he said one day he's like, "Oh, sweet dark meat."
He did say that.
That's messed up, man. We're gonna cancel Freddy.
Can't imagine what he said to those Hmong
give him
guys.
a break. It was
1985, man.
Give him a break. It was a different time.
All the child molesting, murdering ghosts were doing that.
You should have heard what he said to the women in his office.
Nat, do you have the list in front of you I sent? I forgot to ask you that.
I do not.
You do not?
No.
You take the next one. You can talk about anything we have discussed before, but I wanted to see if you wanted to talk about The Strangers. I thought you would have.
Oh yeah,
a good.
The Strangers. I don't know much about the real life case. I just know that movie scared the fuck out of me.
Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to get you to talk about.
Yeah,
like that's the one that I cannot watch by myself. It's still terrifying. The last time I watched it, I was like, all right, I'm done. I don't want to watch this anymore because it's so real. And the fact that it was based on a true story or true events, whatever. I don't know. I don't even know how closely it was based on the story. I just refused to look it up because I'm like, I can't make this be more real to me.
Yeah, it's
two things. It's
been a long time since I've seen it. It's like right after it came out.
Yeah,
and you know more about the actual true events than I do, John.
Well, one of them was the Manson murders. I mean, that was partially based because of the break-ins and the homicide. The other one is this the guy who wrote the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It actually happened in his neighborhood. And it's, what was it called? The Ketty cabin murders,
Mhm.
still unsolved today.
Ugh,
And so
shut up. I
I'm
don't want to
sorry.
hear it. I'm gonna leave for this part.
Okay.
Well, no,
Just
I,
kidding.
But this is 1981.
I'm kidding.
So essentially,
End of.
these. Do you want me to go through the whole story, or
just
Yeah.
whatever
come
you
on.
want to do. Yeah, come on, man. Knack,
So there was
Knack
a-
can take it.
there was this
I'll
place
deal
called
with it.
She's
This is-
taking your headphones off and leaving.
Ketty Resort in Ketty, California. These, okay, so there was like a resort, so
Mhm.
they found the bodies of Wingate and Sue and John Sharp the morning of April 12th, 1981. Her Sue's daughter found them, 14-year-old. She had been sleeping at a friend's house. Her younger sons, or Sue's younger sons, Rick and Greg, were also in the house, but they were unharmed. But Tina, who was the sister, I believe, she was not at the house, and she remained missing, excuse me, until April 1984, when they found her skull and several bones recovered at a campsite in California as well. And they had multiple leads chased down. They never found anybody, but they did find some new DNA evidence. No arrests still made. I guess the idea was that, based on her, the two that had survived in the house, this was their recollection of what happened. And yeah, pretty fucked up.
Yeah, yeah. I always found the setting in that to be almost as important in the movie as everything else, because a roadside motel in the middle of nowhere,
well,
it's one of the loneliest, isolated geographic places you can get for nefarious activity.
That I'm trying to remember. So I watched something on that like a while back, and there was some indication that there was a setup for that murder as well. I'm not really sure, but yeah, it's pretty brutal if you look into it. I don't want to go through the whole thing.
Yeah,
crime scenes with who was what.
It certainly doesn't sound like it was a spur of the moment thing, but yeah, it might be something we can go into later on.
Yeah, we could look into those.
Yeah.
And we could talk about
Just
the
to torture me.
Yeah. I think the masks don't help. I mean, there's
Mhm.
that.
That's always
Yeah.
a good thing.
And
They
And
ripped
it-
that off for the purge too. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The mask
Didn't it come
always,
out before the purge?
yeah.
yeah,
He's saying the purge
Oh,
ripped
the
it
Purge
off.
purge
ripped them
ripped
off,
it
yeah.
off. Yeah. It's especially because I want to live in the middle of nowhere.
right,
You
right,
know,
yeah.
away from everybody. I'm
Well,
like, but this could happen.
Well, don't worry, it didn't happen on the West Coast.
Oh yeah, like nothing weird could happen on the West Coast,
It
right?
absolutely did happen on the West Coast.
It happened like
Oh.
30 miles from you, oh, dude. I'm not even kidding.
It was like 40 something.
I wasn't listening. Where was it at? California?
California.
San Diego.
Of course it happened in California. Fucking
Mhm.
freaks down there. No freaks in Oregon.
Not at all. Not at all.
No towns that say keep us weird. Nothing like that.
No.
No.
What do you got?
I was gonna go next with The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
That's an interesting one.
It's a good movie. I find the case that it's based off of more fascinating.
I think it's, because you're dealing with religion, which, we're freedom of religion, that you have to really look closely in, and also murder and potential murders and
neglect, community responsibility, all these issues. For the folks that don't know, this occurred in 1976, and it was in West Germany at the time.
Germany,
Bavaria.
Sorry.
A young lady who was at the time of her death 23 years old underwent a series of exorcisms. Not one, not two, not even 10, but 67 exorcisms. exorcisms. Her name was Anna Elizabeth, and I think it's called pronounced Michael, Annalise Michael is what she would call Michelle. I don't know. Michel. Very easy to find.
Michelle.
Clearly, through the lens of time and advances, you can see this person had seizures and probably had psychosis caused by epilepsy, just because of all the symptoms that she exhibited. Well, people in her family and neighbors were convinced she'd become possessed by a demon. So they appealed to the Catholic Church for an exorcism, which was approved by the local bishop. So after 67 of these, and I'm really trying to chop it down to the bare bone facts. She was malnourished, dehydrated. She basically was starved and neglected to death. In addition to being beaten.
That's what they say,
tortured.
Though. They do say that the feet of fever starve the devil.
Damn, dude. Damn, that's a rough one. That's a rough one. Yeah, you're going straight to hell for that. God. But the interesting part from perspective of law is that the two Roman Catholic priests were charged with negligent homicide, or the version thereof in West Germany, and they were convicted. And they were actually sentenced to 6 months in jail.
Oh, so this is Germany. Yes, the religious laws are way different.
West Germany, 76. Yeah,
I was thinking about that.
Yeah, East Germany, obviously a different. So that was part of the communist bloc, but
okay,
they were. The sentences were reduced to 3 years of probation after the Catholic Church lobbied the local government, and the German bishops all retracted the claim that she was possessed. So basically, they're like, no, she wasn't possessed. Our scorebooks we're still batting 1,000. So some truly reprehensible behavior.
Yeah, that's such bullshit, man.
They're like, it didn't work because she wasn't actually possessed. We're just
right,
because it would have worked otherwise.
Well, I mean, the whole story is pretty wild from a true life perspective, and again, the movie's good. Tom, what's his name's in it? Sutton, not Sutton. Lee Carmine Falcone, legendary actor. Anyway, English actor. Great
Deborah
guy.
from Dexter is the
Deborah from Dexter.
Oh, yeah. What's his name?
Yeah, Jennifer Carpenter.
Jennifer Carpenter.
Yeah,
really ugly.
Eternal Sunshine.
Really what?
Ugly.
Really ugly. She's not that bad. Come on, dude. She's not great.
I'm sorry, she has
She does have possession face in that.
He's about Dexter's sister.
Face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, that's one that I find
also
fascinating.
Dark Passenger.
I think you could have just made a movie based on that, and it would have been just fine. I think they've done some either faux documentaries or biopics on it since then, but it's a fascinating case. Anybody got one they want to do next, or I'll tell you what, John. Why don't you take the next one and pick whichever one you want?
Any movie ever?
Well, in this particular genre.
Yeah.
Do we want to do Screams?
Scream's great with me.
You want to do Scream? How about that one?
Yeah, do Scream.
That's a movie franchise, also.
Indeed, it is. Wes Craven as well.
Yeah.
The one that they didn't count on, the one that they thought was not going to really make it. I remember I was in high school when that came out. Nat, were you born yet?
When did it come out?
1994.
I was a wee baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I saw it in middle school.
It was so much fun in the theater to go. That was the one that got people scared of horror movies again.
So
yeah,
especially since it was high school kids and homicide. So
Wes Craven actually just just directed the movie, right? Mm-hmm. Or did he?
Oh, I thought he was one of the writers as well.
No, Kevin Williamson wrote it. I know that.
Okay.
Yeah, he directed it. So it's based on Kevin Williamson saw this documentary called Turning Point. And it's about the murders of the Gainesville Ripper. Has ever heard of that?
It's got to be
Mm.
Florida.
Could play guitar like you wouldn't believe, dude.
He's just ripping it up.
Ripping it up.
I
No,
feel like I have heard of the Gainesville Ripper, but I can't remember.
Did he replace Rob Halford
he
in Judas
did.
Priest?
Ripper Gainesville. No, his name was Daniel Rowland, and he was an American serial killer. He killed 5 students in Gainesville, Florida, over 4 days in August of 1990. He also raped several of his victims and
Is he the one who killed the nurses?
killed the what?
The nursing students?
Um, nursing. I don't know. I can't remember if they were nursing students or not.
It doesn't matter. Let's move on.
Yeah, I know he broke into a house and he started just murdering people. He would tape the mouths shut. He's a K-bar to attack people, which I think they use essentially use that same knife in the Scream movies. Yeah.
Nat, I believe you're right. They were college students for sure.
Well, I know that. I just don't know if I didn't know if they
Well,
were.
I was thinking of from American Horror Story when they kind of like doing not like an homage to like that a story, but I can't remember exactly exactly who they based that on.
I think more or less his the spree of killing was based on him more than the mask and everything like that and the phone. I think it was the fact that he had like shaken up this area and they just instead of being a college campus they took it to a high school.
Right. Small, more confined community. John, would you say that's where your love of voice changers came in?
Oh no, that was before that, dude. Nah, yeah, probably after that. That was early on.
Okay.
You're right.
Yeah.
But he yeah, I mean okay, so a lot of it was that not the night or the opening sequence was based a lot around that too, which is if you've seen the movie Scream, you know that they put Drew Barrymore, who at the time was like probably the biggest star in the movie.
Oh yeah, by far.
They put the biggest name. They put her at the very beginning of the movie, like, okay, she's gonna be fine. This is gonna be
This is our main character.
right. And boom. And which is fun because they do talk about like the movie horror tropes in there, which is something they used in another movie.
The
We'll
meta
talk about,
commentary
right
inside of the movie itself.
And I'll say this, if you're a fan of those movies, I know there's some good ones, there's some bad ones. Not the most recent one, I haven't seen that one. The one before that is pretty good too, because they within the movie universe, they made a movie based on the killings called Slasher.
Mm-hmm.
And the slasher stuff was all based on the stuff that happened in the movie. So in this newest that movie, all these kids, just like the beginning, they reference that movie, and like they have rules like don't do this, don't do that, based on the slasher movie, right?
Yeah.
And but they're also calling back characters from the first movies as well. So it's pretty cool. It's like a, you know, I would recommend that one.
I'll have to give that a watch sometime.
Yeah.
Nat, would you like to pick our next feature?
Our next feature.
I think we should talk about Wolf Creek.
So hoping you go there.
Because it's a hilarious movie.
You know what?
It's very funny.
Go ahead. I'm gonna reserve my comments.
Why? Go ahead.
Yeah, dude.
No. I want you to talk about it because
Well, I kind of read about the true story, but the in the movie, these kids are like going on a road trip and they end up in the middle of nowhere, basically.
In the bush.
And their car breaks down when they try to leave. They can't start it. And then they're kind of just waiting there for a while.
And then,
and then some hill person is what I'm going to call him, shows up and offers them some help. and they're like in the movie, they're obviously trying to make it ominous and scary with the music, but then this guy talks and he has his Australian accent, and you can't even take it seriously. I just started laughing. I'm like, I know I'm supposed to be like afraid right now, but it's hard to take it seriously.
Look at Lorraine. He's a bogan. He might have a knife on him.
I think your car's in trouble.
And then it was also just a really cheesy movie.
Maybe we
on
should
top
check
of
the
that.
boot. See, you got a spare tire?
One thing that bugged me about the movie was that I'm going to say spoiler.
There was a survivor.
Well, all we're going is that they were basing all this stuff that half of that movie, if you watch it, he was blindfolded or not able to, or wasn't in the vicinity of the other.
Oh yeah.
So he wouldn't have been able to know what happened. Yet this is all like a recollection, or like his
It's a true story.
He's a survivor, and he tells it.
Well, I mean, how would they? Otherwise, the movie would just be him.
No, I know, but I'm saying that how would anybody know that happened? It's like basically
it's almost as if it's based on and not fact.
Oh, I know that. I understand. I'm just saying, but he's the one that's
it's fiction,
recalling the story at the end to the authorities, I believe. Doesn't he get? Yeah, whatever. Doesn't matter. What's this based on? I forgot. Isn't there like there was a real serial killer? And
it was one single incident, to the best of my knowledge.
No.
Yeah, they made up rumors about it being more, but
Right.
he got away with it. Like whatever happened, he didn't get convicted of.
Yeah, the main suspect. I mean, he was a bogan, as I said. He lived out in the wilderness. I guess they just never really followed up on it. That's all I know on that one. Not incredibly familiar with it.
I'm gonna jump in a kangaroo pouch
Yeah.
and you'll never catch me. I live with Bluey.
Jesus,
I'm Bluey's dad.
No way. He's not Bandit. You shut up. Bandit's a saint.
But no, it's an entertaining movie, and I think people should watch it.
I watched most of that movie on fast forward. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I will say this: it's a lot of there's a lot of torture in it. It's almost that torture porn in a way.
Yeah, it almost got to. Was it after Hostel?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Pretty sure, but it was based on something legitimate. So I guess.
Yeah.
Whatever, guys. Whatever.
The next one's going to be for all of us to talk about and do commentary on, because it is a rich in historical inspiration movie, and that would be Silence of the Lambs, because not just an incident is the inspiration, but people in the movie have inspiration. Multiple people. And yeah, I did that proudly. I can hipster claim that I did that impression before anybody else was doing it and thought it was cool for a long, strange looks at me time. But to this day,
that checks out.
Yeah. I'm very proud of my Ted Levine look, my Buffalo Bill dance, all of it. But a lot of it was from Ed Gein, who will probably come up fairly soon in another movie, and a few other killers that shaped Jane Gum, aka Buffalo Bill. But the interesting things that I found, well, number one, you want to talk about Jack Crawford, his inspiration, John?
Yeah, I think, was it an amalgamation, or was it really just strictly based on?
It's pretty much just straight up based on him.
So you're a fan of Mindhunter, or just you're around true crime, and the
behavior analysis unit.
Yeah, John E. Douglas, who's the
granddaddy of all
superstar
behavior analysis.
Yeah, it's based on that's who they base the character Jack Crawford on.
Except they gave Jack Crawford, like, no one questioned Jack Crawford, and no one called him crazy, and he had a lot more authority during that point of his career than John Douglas did, because of the way things go. But yes, Jack Crawford was very much the direct inspiration for, or John Douglas was very much the direct inspiration for Jack Crawford. Did you guys ever hear about where Anthony Hopkins got the mannerisms for Hannibal?
Um,
Wasn't it from one of his teachers?
Yeah, it was from one of his first acting coaches. Top
Which
marks
isn't
in
that
that.
terrifying?
It is. It is like the things like just little mannerisms and things he would say
Yeah.
to Jodie Foster. Like it wasn't in the script because it just came off, with him doing the little tisk tisk and all this other stuff, and like how he would sharply say things. And you think about it now and you go back and look at it, it's like, oh my God, this is a terrifying fucking teacher. That's exactly what
Mm-hmm.
this guy is. He was
Yeah.
instructing her the entire time.
Yeah.
It was just fantastic manipulation.
Which is perfect for that character.
It really is.
Absolutely perfect.
And the funny thing is, they sent her to Jack Crawford to be like an asset and be trained.
Mm-hmm.
He throws her into the fucking lion's den with a psychopath, and he's the one that trains her, like the Lord psychopath. What she learned from Dr. Lecter. She didn't learn from Jack Crawford.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty,
Which is like
pretty cool.
Anybody who attempted to like use him for any sort of situation,
Right.
like that's why I loved that, like the whole series.
Well, yeah.
well,
Because it's like he just sucks people in,
he
especially
also
people he believes in.
Right.
the other part of him is the medical part. Have you heard about that inspiration?
Oh yeah. I can't remember all
So
the
he's
details off the top of my head.
it's Thomas Harris who wrote the books.
Right.
He was writing these articles in the 60s, and he was in this mental hospital, and he interviewed this guy who had been shot in the face, and this doctor in prison, I guess some doctor that he refers to as Dr. Salazar, he basically did the surgery on the guy, and like, which I kind of think may have been based on
Mason
later on, but
Mason Verger.
he believed Salazar was never named.
Mm-hmm.
They believe he was this guy named Alfredo Bali Trevino, which is the last criminal to be condemned to death in Mexico. And he was a physician, upper class family, and he murdered his friend and lover, Jesus Castillo Rangel.
That's
Mutilated
right.
his body.
Yeah, I forgot about the Rangel thing.
And then he was also suspected of killing several other hitchhikers in the countryside. And that, I think that was the main inspiration for him. But a lot of people think like there's Albert Fish, I guess, which is not as cruel, I guess.
He was a real. I mean, they crafted a really elegant monster, which is part of the terror surrounding Hannibal, and they did a great job in Hannibal of. Well, I mean, they did a great job of Silence of the Lambs, period. But in Hannibal of showing his, just incremental shifts that would go from being, one of the most civilized people you thought you'd ever been around to being just this complete wave of brutality and inhumanity.
Mm-hmm.
I think when he executed that French detective who was trying to sell him out to Mason Verger, recreated that medieval piece where the person was basically hung by their own intestines, and it was his ancestor out of that window. It's like, God damn, it took 2 seconds worth of action.
Mm-hmm.
And it was masterfully done. You don't really have monsters like that in real life. At least I haven't had the chance to encounter one. But man, what compelling fiction!
Well, I think Buffalo Bill is the more compelling character
for sure. Now that can exist.
So we go back to one of our old cases. One that we've talked about was Jerry Brudos was a big inspiration there.
Yep,
because of dressing up in women's clothing, strangling. That was huge, and the inspiration for.
Well, he had the storage space too, like Brudos' garage.
Yeah,
one where Clarice found the head.
Ed Gein was also.
Yeah,
Ed Gein's going to come up in a lot of these, but Ed Gein because of the skin suits and the trophies and everything. Bundy. using
yeah.
the injured
Yep.
thing was a
The
big one.
cast. Yeah.
Edmund Kemper, who was Jane Gum,
Right.
killed his grandparents, which and also I think Gum was sort of a larger presence. Edmund Kemper was a huge like
he was a block of a man.
Yeah. Gary Ridgway, Green River Killer, he would dump women's bodies off and put foreign objects into
Right.
So a lot of different people he's based on.
Yeah, it took a real student of the game to put all this together.
And that said, an amazing dancer.
Yeah.
I mean, if you haven't seen his rendition, like if they had So You Think You Could Dance that was still on, put him on there. Goodbye Horses. I fucking wept.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
So You Think You Can Dance, Murder Edition.
So you think?
So I gotta ask you, Nat. You are uniquely positioned to answer this question. In that movie, when she's around law enforcement a lot, it's mostly always men. It's people who are bigger and taller than her, and she's like when she gets in the elevators or when she's trying to get through places, she's physically like crowded at all times.
What are you talking? I don't know anything about this.
Well, what I'm saying is I mean, I thought that was a brilliant depiction of that viewpoint. It's not something I typically have to think about, and I thought it really added to her character. I thought it was fantastic.
What do you mean, Doctor?
And it showed the stakes quite a bit better.
I thought she handled her own with multiple MIGs.
Oh Jesus!
John. I think John should shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I think that was a good call on portraying her character and like without saying what she was having to do with, just showing it that way. You didn't need to explain it any further.
Yeah, the funeral scene I think was maybe the best one. Like they didn't want to let her in. Like she's the federal agent working the case, and they didn't want to let her in to see the body.
Yeah.
In the funeral home, like they were just like blockading her. It's like Jesus Christ. And I've seen instances of that in law enforcement. Like it was fucking wild. Even I thought that I would have come along at a more modern time, and lo and behold, you got people who are wearing the same badge as you, carrying the same caliber gun. They did their marks. They got their time, to be where they were, and it was still an issue then. It was, it's just wild to me. But I thought that
I'm sure it still remains an issue today.
Yeah. Sadly.
Well.
Sadly, but yeah, I just I wanted your take on that. See if if that was as on time as I thought it was. But
oh, absolutely.
Well, John, you want to take the next one off the list, whichever one you want.
I think there's only one left, right, on this list.
No, there's more.
I got one. Ravenous is the one that I think you're talking about, or that's on the left on here, right?
Well, it's on the list, yeah.
So I really like this movie. It's pretty dark if you're not into that kind of thing, but it's basically the Donner Party. It's our Alfred Packer, that whole, if you're into eating people and your explorers and your journeyman cross country in the
it's a good
1800s.
It's a good movie. Now, is Jeffrey Jones in that?
Yes, he is. Yes.
Is he as despicable as I remember him? Okay.
Guy Pearce.
Yeah.
They do this thing where they scratch on the ground whenever they're like ready to kill. They become very animalistic.
Yeah, very feral.
Yeah.
Did you see that one, Nat?
I haven't seen that.
The movie's like, and I mean dark tone, but also like literally dark. Like they shoot it and it's pretty dark. So like,
well, yeah, I mean the time of year, the low light, the snow, all that stuff.
They really capture how
I prefer Cannibal the Musical.
Cannibal the Musical is great.
I think it's a better depiction, and I would like to think that's the way it went down. Trey Matt's first foray into cinema.
Yes.
Same subject matter. Yeah. The same folks.
Oregon Trail, same thing. That's always imagine how we got across.
Sometimes you get hungry and you need a snack.
You don't always have to shoot bear.
Nat would always win an Oregon Trail. We played against her. Always.
Quit being the banker.
I'm there, bitch. Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed this movie. I would say it's not for everybody, but it's a good one.
Yeah.
Cannibalism. I mean,
Listen, I thought it was going to be a bigger deal in my life. So,
yeah,
Well, your life's not over with yet. So,
well, yeah, I mean, I guess they are doing the emergency alert alarm tomorrow that's going to turn everybody super violent and attack everyone.
yeah, it's
so
yeah.
That's what happened in The Crazies.
So
You ever see that
beware,
movie?
turn off your phones.
Yep.
Don't listen to this.
Nope. It's the anti-life equation.
What do you? I've got.
One of the ones I got left on my list is, it's not a horror movie per se. It is a suspense movie.
Oh, right, yeah.
And it's a fascinating real life case. To the point of it's one of the things that informed a lot of people on a completely different type of spin on an old crime. And there used to be people who would call and try to get thrills off the telephone since the advent of the telephone. And they would ask for weird things or whatever. But this particular case is from a movie called Compliance. The actual case itself happened in the early 2000s. I think it was like 2003.
Really? I thought it was earlier than that.
No.
Yeah, I thought it was like relatively like 2013.
Oh, really? I thought it was early, like in the 90s.
No, the movie was 2013.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's where I got 2013 from.
Yeah. Let me double check here real quick. I think it was 2004.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. 2004.
Yeah. So basically what happened is this lady is a shift manager at McDonald's. I think they've been on shift for too long. This guy calls and he's extremely professional and he's a bit curt. And he says, look, he identifies himself as law enforcement. He says that she has someone who is basically trafficking narcotics, possible other crimes, who's under her employ. He's drafting a warrant as they are talking to go in front of a judge, but she's about to do something so illegal and so bad that he is giving her emergency deputy authorization to stop this person and search her. He engages in, apparently he is so convincing, or this person is of such diminished mental capacity, and eventually I believe she gets her boyfriend or husband involved in it as well, and he has the manager strip search this employee. I mean, to an alarmingly perverse level. I mean, he really gets his jollies off on it. And at the very end, he's ending the call, and she figures out something's not right. She ends up like hanging up, and they call the police and all this other stuff. The movie dramatizes a little bit more than it actually happened, of course. And eventually the cops trace the call and arrest the guy. But he was not convicted of the crimes due to a lack of evidence. And part of that was that to the best of my recollection, the manager and the husband or boyfriend, whatever it was, were not going to testify. They were not going to go in open court and say that this was the person, because they didn't want to identify the voice and they didn't want to be embarrassed and publicly associated with it. But I mean, it was really messed up. And like after the story came out, it opened a lot of people's eyes as to what could be done with technology, because I think this person had engaged in surveillance and
there was
done some homework.
There were multiple incidents, and they believed that he did all of them, but he just didn't.
The person who was back for that I know of was only officially connected to that one.
So. No, he was arrested for that one, but they believed that he was tied to these other ones, and all the calls stopped once he was arrested.
Yeah.
So
I'd forgotten about that one.
Yeah. I remember people saying this was happening, and I was like, I was like thinking, at the time, why the fuck are you listening? But some people just don't want to rock the boat.
No, it's amazing how far you can get people to go.
Yeah.
By the way, watch Digital Bazooka if you haven't been checking that out. It's the wrong podcast to mention that on, but man, it's fun.
It's good.
It just goes along with the,
Yeah, with the
getting your jollies off by calling
Right.
people
And
and
also-
asking for stuff.
if you want to get those kids to jump.
right. Jesus.
Sorry. I can't.
Yeah.
I've got some other movies just like real quick. We want to run through them.
Yeah. I'm good with it.
They're not. So Henry, Portrait of American Serial Killer.
Before we do that, I absolutely have to get this one in there. Borderland. Because
Right.
we'd done the case before. Adolfo Costanzo and Sarah Eldreddy. Nat's Bad Bitch.
I've not seen this movie.
I have seen bits and pieces of it. And
I haven't seen the movie.
I think that they had to scale it back a little bit in that movie. There's no way.
There's no way they could do it as well.
But it is it's a case we
It's the
covered
real life thing.
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
As sexy as the real life story was.
Yeah.
But man,
that
that case is nuts.
yeah, go back and listen to
Narcoticos Satanico, is that correct?
you
Mhm.
said it.
Yeah. But anyway, I wanted to honorable mention Borderland in there just because we covered the case and it's so fucking wild.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, fiction is definitely falling short of reality in that one.
These I have are just very quick. They're more on the notes here, but Henry, Portrait of American Serial Killer,
Henry Lee Lucas,
based on the confessions, or some of the tales of Henry Lee Lucas. But if you follow that,
assuredly some false confessions,
lots of them. I don't
Yeah.
think that they're trying to figure out if he killed anybody except for the first.
Yeah,
First
I
one's-
think he
yeah.
got 2 or 3 for
Yeah.
sure.
Um,
But I'm not sure.
Still a good movie though. Michael Rooker, if Walking Dead fame, awesome.
He's Yondu, man.
Yeah, he's great.
Papa Joe,
Mallrats as well.
Mr. Spinning.
Yeah. Psycho it was based on Ed Gein, but not at the character of Norman Bates wasn't initially based on him. It's just the rest was going on as he started writing it. So he took the characteristics later on. Like,
Well, the keeping of the dead body was one of the things also.
well, the suits and
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one.
I like Psycho.
Psycho's great. It's
Mhm.
hilarious.
Did you
No,
watch the show?
I didn't,
No, I heard nothing but good things about it.
but
It was
Psycho.
good. It was really good.
So when we were talking about Scream earlier in Drew Barrymore, one of the tropes is that one of the main actresses, you think you're following this actress to the thing, and she gets killed in the middle of the movie.
generally,
Right. And the most famous scene in the movie happens to fairly early on.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, and that's considered like one of the premier horror movies, one of the first, I guess, well organized, for the mass media, mass produced
Mhm.
horror movies. Anyway, Zodiac. Fantastic.
I still have never seen it.
Okay. Look, I know they don't catch the Zodiac, obviously. in this
Yeah, I'm
movie,
out.
but there's a scene in there that I swear this guy's going to get killed. I know he's not going to. It's a basement scene. If anybody's seen this movie,
Is the
Mhm.
Hulk and Iron Man in that movie?
right? Both of them.
Okay.
It's great.
That was a good one.
It's very good. David Fincher.
I remember
Awesome.
watching it a few years ago thinking, wow, I thought this used to be much better than it is.
God. Well, it's no.
Like
forgot
it's still good. It was just like
Um.
through a different lens. An much older lens.
Calloused lens.
Yeah.
You're all fucking hard boiled now.
I'm a little overdone.
This.
Sorry.
My yolk is gray.
Yeah.
You're not yoked. Okay, I didn't have
Jesus,
anything.
John.
I'm not yoking around.
Right. You said it. Got it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Not proud of it. Let's move
The-
on.
I don't really like this series, but I do like the story more than the series. The Watcher, the Netflix series, they did I forgot how many parts, but it's about this house that this couple buys.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And then they keep getting letters about somebody watching the house and et cetera, et cetera. So The real story is so much more fascinating than what I guess the way they concluded it in the fucking
The show.
miniseries.
Yeah.
Once
The
again, I
show
think
stunk.
Yeah.
Ryan and Shane, when they were on BuzzFeed Unsolved, did a great
On the Watcher.
25-minute thing on the Watcher. I think it's one of the best I've ever seen on it.
Oh, we forgot a good one too. The Town That Dreaded Sundown.
Oh yeah.
So
Texarkana.
Texarkana. I recently saw something on this, or watched something on this. Not watch, sorry, listen to something on this. About those murders. When those murders happened, they actually inspired the hooded thing that inspired the
Jason Voorhees' first
too.
appearance.
Yeah. And the real life murders. So that town, I mean, that movie obviously is based on those murders.
And also that scene in Django Unchained,
right?
where the eyes didn't quite fit with the KKK members.
My wife worked hard on this. No,
we've lost Nat.
But that movie, the real life murders are so heinous that this is in the 1940s. This guy would go up to Lover's Lane. He would go and knock on the doors, and then people would they thought it was police or whatever. Roll down the window, and he'd kill them.
What would he do?
He would
say hi, ask for a sandwich,
slide in. But then he started going to people's houses, and
his MO was varied,
right?
And it wasn't always, he didn't always sexually assault the female either. So I mean, and plus forensics being what it was then, it's fucking terrible.
Well, they blamed this one guy who was like a habitual, like petty theft, petty thief. They thought it was him, but it just didn't fit with his MO. Like he'd been doing this for years. They really think this one kid who
that was the first guy was the dude with the mentally handicapped wife,
right? Yeah,
who dropped the false dime on him.
Yeah, the one person that probably, well, there's a better chance it was, in my opinion.
I don't think you're gonna hurt his feelings.
Well, he's dead now. He killed himself. He killed himself the following summer from after those murders. He had written a confession, and he knew the victims as well. He was this college student, worked at a movie theater, who would explain them the hood and everything as well.
Theatricality and deception.
Yeah. But anyway, that scared a lot of people.
Yeah, that movie came out. Actual incident.
The incident, and then
I mean, the cops were afraid. They wouldn't go out unless they were in force.
Right.
They brought people had to stop. Seriously, had to stop parking at Lover's Lane and go to Buttfucker Lane.
Yeah, and everyone was like, "Please." Sorry.
What's your dad here?
I'm the mayor. But that also an influential story on a lot of other movies.
Absolutely.
From Hell, not a great movie, but Jack the Ripper.
Yeah,
if you're into that thing. Mothman Prophecies.
By the way, Jack the Ripper is still a fascinating case to me. I know that's so trite, but it's Mothman Prophecies with the gerbil thing was really weird.
Yeah, when that gerbil just started flying.
was
Richard Gere.
Yeah, was Richard Gere in that movie?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, he was.
He is the star in his gerbil. And the last thing I was just going to mention was The Sacrament, which is Ty West. It's
I forgot about that movie.
I would say loosely based on Jim Jones, the Jim Jones cult.
A little bit more loosely.
Well, the guy looks just like Jim Jones.
Yeah, he had the same fucking glasses.
Right.
I think he was in the
so
same
it is
shirt.
based on Jim Jones.
Yeah. Well, the time. I mean, it's not based on the same cult. Like he had a different.
Yeah. His name was Tim Jones.
Oh.
Tim Tones.
Yeah, Tim Tones.
But he, it's a pretty good movie though. If you like that sort of thing, you like cults and creepiness, and anyway,
I've been known to like cult creepiness.
That's all I got. That's all I got, guys.
I think it was a good movie list. I think this was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not the best horror movies of all time. They're just based on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Based on real life events.
My favorite horror movie was based on my church. The Wicker Man. Have you seen it?
You're too cool for fucking school, dude.
What? That is my favorite horror movie.
Too cool for school.
You ever seen it? It's
Yeah,
good.
I've seen
the
the Wicker
original.
I've seen bits and pieces of both. Well, I've seen all the original and bits and pieces of Nick Cage.
Yeah, the Nick Cage is hilarious though.
Love that guy.
Yeah,
Real superstar.
Yeah.
he's good.
You said that like him too.
He's good.
You didn't mean to.
Real superstar.
Real superstar.
Real superstar. I didn't mean to, so I can't do it again.
Do it again.
I think I got possessed for a moment.
Yeah.
He's got some movie coming out where he's in everybody's dreams.
Freddy
Mhm.
Krueger.
That looks, yeah, it's like a nice guy Freddy Krueger, but not. It looks wild. It's going to be one of those Nick Cage movies that I'm going to have to watch.
I watch all of them. By the way, if you don't see a horrific in a good way movie, Mandy, Nick Cage.
Oh yeah.
Greatest
I
freak
watched
out of
that.
all time.
I watched that. Was it Mandy? Yeah, I watched that on Halloween camping at the coast here
Mhm.
where the Highway 20 killer look up the Highway 20 killer
Yes.
kidnapped and murdered a couple of girls
Oh
at
my god.
yeah.
That's not a good movie to
that's the
see
first
out.
time
in
I
the
saw
fu-
that movie.
Oh my god.
We
Where-
watched it outside too.
Yeah,
did you do this willingly and informed, or
I didn't know it was going to be put on, but I did go camping willingly. It's not like I set it up. It was just like, oh, let's put on this movie. And I'm like, I don't know what this is.
this waking nightmare. This is what this movie is.
you still engage in I'm gonna get murdered behaviors quite a bit. So
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm gonna miss you.
Well,
I will.
you know,
I really will.
I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah, ain't we all?
So should we announce what we're going to do at the end of the month after
I think it's a
our
great
spooky
time.
series?
Yeah, and we can incorporate some spooky stuff into that too. Who cares?
And also we can tell I guess we can tell what we're doing the rest of the month as well.
Yeah. We are we're gonna be doing a couple cases. Everybody's gonna choose one.
Really?
Well, at least we're gonna choose a couple.
No, I thought okay, go for it, man.
And
yeah, I'm down with that too. But...
Yeah, well, we're gonna have some cases, and that are gonna be along the vein of spooky. We may do like in one episode, we may do 2 cases per one episode. Another one may just do one. It depends on how the flow goes. But the important thing is at the end of the month, we are going to be doing a live event. Finally,
live streaming event.
Yes, live streaming event.
Mhm.
And we want to interact with you. We're going to be putting it out on Twitter and the Instagrams that John and Nat are so good at. And we're gonna be
Instagram
all up in your
Nice.
business. And we're gonna be talking about it. And we want to hear from you. We want to talk to you. We may have some guests on our live event. I don't know. It's live.
anything can happen.
That's right.
It's-
Nat almost beat me to that because it's live.
It's called Live from the Pumpkin Patch.
Live from the Pumpkin Patch is not going to be the name of this event, but it's a good name.
It's scary.
It's a good name.
Okay, so
Scary.
look out for that.
Yeah, and
Look out for that. Tentatively to be announced the exact date.
wear your costumes.
Yeah, wear your costumes.
Don't wear your costumes.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Okay. Just don't do this on the live event. We want people to show up.
We'll just mute him.
Yeah.
I won't be here. Guys, I won't be here. I'm just kidding. I'm bringing like real dad energy. Guys, I'm kidding with you.
You're like a really sad Patrick Warburton.
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, we're really psyched about that. Totally looking forward to seeing you guys, hanging out with you, answering questions, telling stories, listening to your stories. It'll be fun. Except Nat. Nat does not want to see you guys, but it's part of the biz.
Yeah, I don't want to see your ugly faces.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, we're gonna have some tricks, but it's gonna be a real treat.
You got some real divorced energy, John, and that's saying something.
All right, and
That's cringing.
be sure
so
to close
hard.
your blinds and lock your doors because you got to keep John out.
Yeah. And
Forget
don't be
about
afraid.
anybody else.
Don't be afraid. Be aware of John and his silly shit.
Guys, it's just a joke. That's it.
Yeah, go ahead. You can close it down tonight. John, you get the last word.
Close your blinds and shut your doors and be afraid. Don't deduce.
Well, I before we go, I do want to say that I think you guys did a great job on this episode.
Thanks, man.
Everybody did great.
Everybody did good.
Everybody did good. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Good job, everybody.
I'll see you guys on Halloween.
All right, don't be afraid.
Or
Be
next
aware.
week when we do another one of these.
That's true.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, almost hit the wrong button.